tropical update as of 2 p.m. PST, July 23rd. Tropical depression 8 remains a depression, but it looks really, really good. But satellite intensity, it shows 35 knots, but there's no data at the surface or earlier recon supporting tropical storm. But it wouldn't surprise me if a later recon did show a tropical storm based on current appearance, which is really good. I mean, if this was anywhere else or it was sparse data, I'd say definitely tropical storm. Pretty good environment. This thing could actually start strengthening pretty fast based on its appearance and the halo upper levels that it has. It's moving 285 by 7, so west-northwest. But it's expected to turn westward by 36 to 48 hours. And it's also west after 60 hours when it moves towards land. Light shear with anticyclonic outflow curve. So the ANC goes 50 knots. I think this thing has a chance to go 55 to 60 knots in my opinion, because the conditions look extremely favorable for it. Here's the track north of Corpus Christi. I think it's funny the guy that commented on my video, one of my videos, said, "Oh, it ain't heading towards Corpus Christi," but you know, after 60 hours, it's probably gonna head south, so out west. So who knows? Maybe the wind is stronger. Maybe maybe the system's strong. Maybe it's a hurricane. The Corpus Christi. So never say never. Look at the models. There's definitely a possibility of that. And GFS neighbors definitely. I mean, one of them showed a hurricane near Corpus Christi. I mean, intensity models show 45 to 50 knots. So it's definitely possible. So we'll just have to see. Personally, if I was a betman, I'd say this thing has probably a 60 or 70% chance of becoming a hurricane based on this appearance. But that's just me. Our next system is Brazil, which has been hit by SAL and gutted. So it's 50 knots with intensity estimates between 35 to 55 knots. Structural decompression has been developed top of the Brazil center, so the storm is not really ready to give up its fight. Yeah, I agree. It has greater normal certainty and intensity, I agree, but it has light shear and warm sea surface temperatures, but with counterbalance to a dry air because it's within the SAL. Cyclodynamic models continue to show strengthening while several of the global models, in particular the ECMWF and UKMAT, still shows because of the weakening open up to a top near or after it passes the windward elders. They lowered the intensity based on an initial intensity, and they say it's susceptible to change because of its size. I agree. GFS shows it becoming an open trough, so they forecast it dissipating by 5 days. If it was 275 by 11, and the models are shifting northward. There's the models. All of them still keep it south of the greater artilleries. GFS neighbors are further north. And many of the intensity models are now below hurricane, so I think it stays below hurricane now. Probably 55 knots. And chances are it does weaken over the Central Caribbean. So, but we'll have to see. Finally, we're going to look at Douglas, which is an extremely powerful storm in the Eastern Pacific. The visual satellite image shows that Douglas is quite a powerful hurricane. The eye has become crisp during the day, and infrared data shows that the Iowa action has deepened. It had increased to 110 knots. Which surprised me, it was a Cat 4, but without recon data, we can't really be certain of it. But it's going to be moving in the colder water pretty soon. So weakening is definitely possible. It's moving west-northwestward, and it's definitely affect to Hawaii. It's near Hawaii, and they keep it near 75 miles per hour near Hawaii. Let's look at the data for our system. Here's the IR image. Very well defined, nice eye. Here's the track showing a landfall in Hawaii. Of a hurricane. I mean, this would be very rare if it made landfall as big out as a hurricane. And the models definitely agree with this thinking. And we definitely have weakening by 72 hours, but barely a hurricane by 72 hours, so everything agrees with the Institute's line of thinking. So I think this thing will be a big threat for Hawaii. It could be a hurricane. Here's this image. Perfect storm. Could be a Cat 4, in my opinion. But that we don't really have that powerful data one way or the other. So that's your tropical update.